seen one of the most epic confrontations in the 2026 Australian Open semi-final, because breaking news, one half of the Sinkaras Dream final is complete, with Carlos Alcaraz reaching the final after an epic 5-set duel with Alexander Zverev. Carlos Alcaraz had to dig really deep, and it was indeed the great escape that Carlos Alcaraz staged as he won 6-4, 7-6, 6-7, 6-7, 7-5 in a match that lasted 5 hours and 27 minutes. It was a remarkable testament to both Zverev and Carlos Alcaraz. But the beast mentality of Carlos Alcaraz is such: the longer the match stretched, the fresher and more powerful he was. Now, this was a game that ebbed and flowed on a lot of occasions, and there was a bit of heat also between Alexander Zverev and the chair umpire, because 6-4, 7-6, Carlos Alcaraz seemed to be dominating. But then what happened was, in the middle of the third set, there was a cramps issue for Carlos Alcaraz and he had to take a medical timeout. Alexander Zverev protested in that, saying that you just can't give a medical timeout for cramps. And he alleged, and he had a big confrontation with the lines official and the people and the chair umpire, saying that Yannick Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz have been protected. They get these special privileges. And he kept on raging about it throughout the entire course of the match. Now, what happened is, Carlos Alcaraz was clearly troubled by some cramp, and that's why he lost the initiative and lost the third and the fourth sets on tiebreakers. Now, what had happened in the fifth set is that probably, unfortunately, Alcaraz was probably suffering from that cramp, and it was clearly distracting him. His serve, his return, everything seemed to be just going awry. And Zverev got a crucial break which ensured that at 4-5 he was serving for the match. But then came the beast mode of Carlos Alcaraz, mentality monster when you look at it. He then ensured he put Zverev under immense pressure, and he was not perturbed. In the fifth set, he looked really calm. He turned the tables, he egged the crowd on, because clearly the crowd was behind Carlos Alcaraz. And that is why I think the outburst that Zverev had did not make him a lot of fans at Melbourne Park, at the Rod Laver Arena. So that's why Carlos Alcaraz fed on the energy of the crowd. He immediately broke back and got it to 5-5. He held serve, and then after that, when Zverev was clearly ruffled, he was tired, he managed to squander the lead and also the serve, and that's why 7-5 at advantage. Carlos Alcaraz capitalized and ensured that he won an epic encounter against Alexander Zverev. It was the clash between number 1 and number 3. Now you're going to see number 2 and number 4 in the rankings battle it out in the Rod Laver Arena. Now, Carlos Alcaraz, this is remarkable because he's reached the Australian Open final for the very first time. He had been in the quarterfinals, he had managed to ensure that he made it to the last 8 or so, but he never crossed that barrier. Now he has managed to reach the final for the very first time, and because of that now, thoughts of a career Grand Slam is really on for Carlos Alcaraz. Because remember, Alcaraz has won the French Open, he's won the US Open, he's won Wimbledon, but he's never won the Australian Open. And now, if he does it, he could be the youngest and the quickest to do it. But standing in his path are two individuals, Yannick Sinner and Novak Djokovic. Now, their match is going to take place in about half an hour's time, because remember, it was initially slated to be at 2, but now because the match is extended well past 3 p.m. or 3:15 p.m., you're going to see Djokovic versus Alcaraz now come into action. So, it's already well past 8 p.m. in Melbourne, and that's why this match could very well go into the midnight. That's how we are looking at. So, Carlos Alcaraz awaits the winner of Yannick Sinner versus Novak Djokovic. Now, as far as both fortunes are concerned and who's going to be the favorite, it's a tough one. Djokovic is gunning for a record 25th Grand Slam. But unfortunately, momentum, when you look at it, against Lorenzo Musetti, he was down 2 sets. But then because Musetti suffered that injury, he then got a walkover. 2 walkovers, which now makes it 18 players who have given a walkover to Novak Djokovic, which is the most in the history of the Open era. So, Novak Djokovic will be awaiting Yannick Sinner, whom he has struggled in the past year or so. Sinner starts as the overwhelming favorites. So, when if Sinner can perform his magic yet again, a dream Sin-Karaz final in the Australian Open could take place on Sunday. So yes, in the Australian Open, we have our first finalist in Carlos Alcaraz, the beast. He's managed to win against Alexander Zverev, who clearly did not take it into account that yes, he complained that a player shouldn't be treated for cramps, but I think that distracted him. He did keep his focus, but at one point he just lost focus. And as the fitness levels of Alcaraz raised, he just ensured that yes, he just had to hang in. He just couldn't have the will to hang in there. Now I'll take a couple of comments. Siddharth Singh, Zverev was near unassailable on the serves throughout the match. How the hell he let him break his match-winning serve? Had to agree he lacks mentality to be a winner. Yeah, Zverev's serve. I mean, look at it. Set number 1 was the first time Zverev was broken. Then he got broken only in set number 5. Then that's how important the serves were for both Alcaraz and Zverev. But you have to also understand the forehand winners that Alcaraz dished out was almost double that of Zverev. And that's why his serve was the only thing that was holding him on. But unfortunately, he couldn't make it. And that's why this is going to be a big, big jolt for Alexander Zverev if he has to ensure he wins his first Grand Slam. And Abhishek Rao, he was pretty much down and out in round 3. He hung in there and rest is history. But I think Sinner will beat Noel in an hour or so, and Sinner will win because of fatigue. Abhishek Rawat, are you that sure? Because remember, Djokovic may be 38, age is not on his side, and maybe he may never win the 25th Grand Slam. But understand one thing, he is desperate to win. So that's the way we look at it. Alcaraz is better than Sinner. Sinner is nowhere close to Alcaraz. Prantik Mitra Singh. Sure. I mean, looking at it, Alcaraz does have a superior head-to-head record against Sinner. But remember, the last encounter, Sinner did beat Alcaraz. And Sasha messed it up big time. You have to admit this. Yeah, I mean, amongst all the others who were in that big 3, big 4, now I think Alexander Zverev has messed it up in a big, big way. And that's why. Anshu Mishra, it's not my birthday. Please, there is nothing about it. I don't have my birthday today. It's some other date. And Abhishek, Noel was struggling in quarterfinal. As he won because of injury. I know, which is why if you look at the live, I had mentioned that Yannick Sinner starts as the overwhelming favorite in this particular encounter. Siddharth Sinha is saying, sir, you cannot beat Alcaraz in athleticism. His serve control was biggest ammunition today, and he failed in it big time. I mean, as the game progressed, Alcaraz was, I mean, he looked fresh as a daisy. After 5 hours and 27 minutes, he looked fresh as a daisy, Carlos Alcaraz. Which is why athleticism, he's taken up after his idol in Rafael Nadal, but he's got the traits of Federer, Nadal, and Djokovic combined. Which is why the Sin-Karaz final is a dream final in the modern era of tennis. So yes, we'll be awaiting the winner of the Yannick Sinner vs Novak Djokovic game. Maybe Djokovic's journey could end. And was the crowd Australian or Spanish? They were both, and both rooted for Carlos Alcaraz at this point. So thank you so much, folks, for joining us for this update. Subscribe to Sports Today for all the latest news and analysis. And Alcaraz can match Federer in terms of Grand Slams. I think he can do better. If his fitness holds, I think he can do better than Federer. He can match Djokovic. Let's see how that pans out. So yeah, Djokovic versus Sinner match going to take place very shortly. Siddharth again is saying, I'm a Djokovic fan, so definitely don't like Alcaraz, but has to agree, he's raising fitness bars to some other level. True. I mean, that is the beauty of Carlos Alcaraz at this point in time. So yes, we'll be back with the Djokovic Sinner update. Let's see how that pans out. So bye-bye, folks. See you soon.